I'm Greg Hunter. Welcome to USAWatchdog.com. My next guest is a regular and a friend of mine. I talk to him every other day. I don't know, at least 3 or 4 times a week. So at the end of last week's market, Thursday, boom. Friday, pow, down, 500 points in a couple of days. So I talked to him at the close of the market. And I said, boy, the market's got hammered, right? And he said, yeah. And I said, so I think it's going to be probably down from here, right? Probably topped. I mean, you're going to hold your call of a market top in May. He goes, yeah, I don't know if I probably will hold my call, but I think it's going to go up Monday and Tuesday. What happened Monday and Tuesday? The market went up Monday. The market went up Tuesday. I'm talking about Gregory Mannarino at traderschoice.net. Gregory Mannarino, thank you for joining us today from Las Vegas.
It's great to be here, Greg. Thank you. I always really enjoy this.
Just to tell the audience here, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to you, and either on a Friday and said, well, Monday it's going to go up, or Monday it's going to, whether it's gold or the stock market or whatever, or an individual stock, Monday I think it's going to go up, or Monday I think it's going to go, or tomorrow it's going to go down. And you've done that many times, and you also have a trading, a portfolio on your site which shows how your trades have done. You have a track record. So fabulous. Thanks for coming on.
Great to be here, Greg. Really. In
the pre-interview, you sent me 3 charts, and I want to start with this one. And this kind of goes with your, here we have a while ago. This is a 5-year chart, and this is this pattern right here that says, "Oh, bullish." And sure enough, and I was surprised you sent me this chart and said, "Oop, same pattern is down here. Look familiar, same pattern." And you're saying, well, it's bullish, not long term, but you're saying stocks are going to go up a little bit from here.
Yes, I do believe that is going to happen. A lot of people are going to not like me saying that because they want to see this market go down very badly. And there's no doubt that we are overvalued, overstretched, distorted, twisted, and everything else. But if we were to look at exactly what you're showing right there, to me, this is looking very bullish short term. What do I mean by that? Over the next few weeks. Now, let me just clarify what I'm saying. That does not mean that this market is going to go straight up in a linear fashion. I do believe it is going to go higher, but there could be pullbacks along the way. I would not be surprised, Greg, to see this market try to retest the last high, which we saw in May, and which has held till this time.
And hold on, I just want to show people. Here is what the same pattern looks like right there. So here's 5 years ago, and then here it is now, and it looks basically really the same.
Yeah, it's very, very similar. And you also have to put a lot of other things into perspective here. And this is another reason why I believe the market is going to rise, despite the hardcore sell-off that we had last week. As you had mentioned, I said I believe the market was going higher this week. That's what's happening here. There's a lot of reasons for that. The extreme bearishness was the reason why I became excessively bullish. I started buying calls on XLE, which is the ETF which attracts the energy sector. Too many bears there, Greg. So it makes me want to be bullish. I always trade like that.
Wait, you actually want to be bullish on oil or everything?
I'm bullish on commodities as well, and I made a chart for you, which we'll talk about with paper gold.
Well, hold on. Let's go to the next thing. I want to go to the dollar because that's the inverse of commodities. Dollar up, commodities down. Commodities down. Commodities go up. Dollar goes down. Right. Okay. So here is your power shares U.S. dollar index, and here's the mess, the hot mess you have just in the last few weeks or whatever, few months, and you're saying on your chart it says bearish.
Yeah. I think that we're going to see the dollar fall here, which is bullish for stocks and also bullish for commodities. This is why I was saying from last week. I'm a commodities bull here. I'm an oil bull. That's why when everyone was trying to dump energy stocks, I was looking to buy these things. As a matter of fact, I added to that position again today. I do believe that it's going higher here in the short run. But again, if we put all this into a perspective, Ray, we have to look at seasonality. We're at a time of year where we should be seeing this market rise here. We might have what's called the January effect. It's a theory that I happen to believe in. So there are a few things in play. Plus, you have to understand we are in an election cycle, and they're going to do whatever they need to do to try to push this higher. But again, I don't think it's going to last. I do believe we are going to start to see commodities rise here. Again, we have a chart I made for you. You should have it there of GLD.
GLD. Hold on, before we go to this chart, hold on a minute. You told me something in the pre-interview about oil, and you said, I think they're going to do something to make oil go higher. That it's at the bottom, that there's too much carnage, evidently, at this price, and somebody is going to do something to make oil pop. What do you mean by that? You said that in the pre-interview, not this interview, but what do you mean by that?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, let's put that into a perspective as well. Oil is currency, Greg, for a lot of Middle Eastern nations here, and there is so much leverage right now with regard to this commodity, and it's across the board here. Major investments by banks. So what can we expect? They're going to do something to drive the price higher. I sincerely believe this is an expansion of war, which you and I have been going over for quite a while. We've been seeing it unfold right before our eyes. So we can expect that to happen. They're not going to allow crude oil to go much lower from here. I think if we're not at a bottom yet, we are very close to it. It's already starting to stabilize. Look what happened today. As a matter of fact, oil finished higher across the board, and it pulled up stocks as well. I think this is going to continue. If we look at the other chart of the dollar, which you had, I think these things are priced in dollars. That's GLD you have in front of you right there.
Oh, the dollar. Hold on. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, that's the ticker UUP, Power Shares U.S. dollar index there. I think it's going to fall into some pressure here, which is going to, again, make commodities rise here. So we'll see how that plays out, Greg. But what we all have to know is we do not have a free market. We have not had a free market in a long time. We have an environment where world central banks have taken that aspect of everything away. So they are going to manage this until this whole thing blows up. Period. They're going to continue to do things that we can't even think of yet, because this is the situation they have created. This recent rate hike, they had to do it. It's not they didn't want to do it; they had to do it to maintain credible. So again, we're going to start to see a lot of other dynamics change. Again, all of this is very liquid and very dynamic. These markets. So you always have to look at these things from several different perspectives. One is the shorter term, one is the longer term, and one is the very, very long term. And my longer term outlook is still abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. I still think we are looking at a complete meltdown of the system, because why? The Federal Reserve and world central banks are colluding with policymakers to keep it all distorted. And all of this will correct the fair market value, Greg. Mark my words. That's what's going to happen at one point.
And I want to come back to the stock market. You made it. You said the market topped in May. You think that your market call is going to hold. It may touch that, may get close to it, but you think basically whether it's a little higher or a little lower, that's going to hold. That you've seen the highs in this market. And Charles Nenner, incidentally, the great Charles Nenner, thinks about the same way you do. He thinks we've seen the highs. We've seen our little rally. It's not going to go up much from here. What do you say about that? You think that the stocks will rally a little bit to here, but longer term, in the short term, medium term, down. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. This is what I expect to happen. Again, I think the market is going to attempt over the next few weeks to retake the highs that we hit with regard to the Dow back in May. It's going to take something extraordinary, Greg, to push it beyond that. I think there's a lot of resistance at that level. What may end up happening is we may bump up against it, and then it's going to roll over at that point. But again, let's reevaluate at that particular time. But as of now, I feel very strongly that we will not make a new high here, again, unless something absolutely dramatic happens, like who knows what they're going to do. All they're concerned with right now is distorting this, making it worse. We're in an election cycle. The president doesn't want to make him look himself look any worse than he is. We understand Janet Yellen serves at the pleasure of the president. So there's no doubt about it that there's a collective collusion going on here. This is not a conspiracy theory. These are facts.
One of my guests just recently said that, Egon von Greyers, said that, he said they're not going to raise rates anymore, period. We're done. They're not going to try to do the dot plot. They're not going to try to keep raising rates. He says things are going to roll over so hard in the first quarter of 2016, they may have to reverse their policy rate to fix this. And if what will roll over, I guess, also not only the economy but the stock market. Do you think the stock market has a good chance of rolling over in the first quarter?
Well, we'll see. This might play into exactly what I'm talking about here, which is a rise in the market in the short term over the next several weeks. We may get this January effect where you get a lot of portfolio managers looking to capitalize on this the sell-off that we've had. But again, you can look at this market from many, many perspectives, and it is still, despite the massive sell-off that we've had last week, this is still way over-owned and way overvalued. It's going to take a long time for all of that to come out of these markets. But again, there's always the chance that some outlying event could affect this market. We could see a massive sell-off. So we always have to look for these kinds of things. It's very interesting, I believe.
So you're bearish on the U.S. dollar. You think the U.S. dollar is already on its way down?
At least in the short term, Greg. I think we're going to have a little bit of a pullback. Look at that chart there that I showed you, which is going to be bullish for gold. If you want to show that chart, we can go over that just real quick.
Yeah, let's go over that. Hold on a minute. Here's your GLD chart, and boy, has it been hammered for the last 3 or 4 years since 2011. Just this, and then now you're saying that we're at the, here's your little nomenclature here. It says down, 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 and you think it's going to go up from here. Why? Because the dollar's going to go down?
Well, I think that we're going to see some pressure on the dollar. These things are priced in dollars, so that's going to push gold higher. Even the paper markets, which we clearly understand are not real. There's no price discovery mechanism here whatsoever. They're fake, they're manipulated, and there's not much else to say with regard to that. I very, very rarely even try to trade these things because nothing is real. Actually, as a matter of fact, nothing is real across the spectrum, but we got to try to capitalize on the manipulation, and that's clearly where we are right now. Nothing is real. I don't know another way to put it. But again, there's going to be a moment of reckoning, Greg, and there's no doubt in my mind that what they have done so far, the grand manipulation, the twisting of this entire thing, all of it cannot be sustained indefinitely. All it is doing is making the issue worse. And again, we're going to hit that moment where all of this corrects to a fair market value, and that is going to be historic, in my opinion.
So stocks are going to go up a little ways from here, and then going to hit a pretty hard ceiling and then maybe sell off. Now, the dollar is going to come under pressure, but on the other end of the teeter-totter, gold's going to get a boost.
Yes.
And do you think this is the year this unwinds? Because, we have that 7-year thing going on. A lot of people think that you were the one that said this to me, and they're going to do crazy things like downgrade all the banks because they were borrowing money cheaper than the federal government. That was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Rob Kirby pointed that out. That's the reason why they did it, which is an outrageous, I don't know how many times you can do that, downgrade 6 of the biggest banks in America, or 7, whatever it was. But you think that is this the year that looking like Houston, we have a problem?
It's funny that you say that. That was the title of the video that I did last Friday, where I talked about where this market would go this week. Greg, we're just going to have to reevaluate this every month when we get on the show. We'll talk about it because I'm convinced beyond anything right now that again this is what we are going to see this year for sure. We're going to see things, once again, that we can't even believe out of world central banks and our policymakers to attempt to keep this propped up. That's all they can do. That's all they can do. And we look at every single metric you want to look at. It shows that this market is absolutely out of touch with reality. So, again, this is just all an illusion that is being propagated by the central banks, colluding with the policymakers on a global scale. Look, we're slowing down. The global economy is slowing down. This is no secret. We hear about China, more stimulus coming out of there. It's helping push up stocks today, as a matter of fact. All of the world is predicated on this debt cycle, adding more debt to a debt problem. And we're going to have to answer for that, Greg, no doubt about it.
So you think that the economy is going to get in trouble sometime in the first quarter, is what I'm hearing. And they're going to pour the coals, as in, i.e. China, as in Mario Draghi, the European Union, the Federal Reserve is going to have to do something. And is that why your gold call is up, your dollar call is down? You're anticipating. I mean, you're not even anticipating a real market. Like, to your point, it's not real, but you're anticipating intervention.
Oh,
is that
absolutely.
what you're saying?
Without any doubt, they're going to keep doing this. They're going to keep trying to intervene in any way as possible on things we can't even think of yet, Greg. And in my opinion here, the main goal of all of this is to bring us to war. Bring us to war as this whole thing starts to melt down, so they can blame it all on that. They're going to look for a scapegoat at one particular time when this thing, because it's so distorted and so twisted, has to correct the fair market value at one point. They can keep distorting it and twisting it and manipulating it and faking data. About one point, they're going to have to pay the piper. Everyone is going to have to pay the piper. That's going to be a terrible moment.
And you're charting what you're saying. There's some people out there that thinks gold could go to $600-700 an ounce, and that they're going to keep manipulating and all that. And you're saying your charts, your work says, you're going to get a pop in gold right here.
Well, yeah, based on the dollar getting weaker here, but understand, for everyone that is listening to this, and I would believe that your listeners are probably smarter than most people, but here what we have, the paper markets are not real. I can't stress this enough. There is no price discovery mechanism here whatsoever. It is faked across the spectrum. It is used as a tool for those who want to make this asset look bad and look like you need to be in the dollar. No. Don't look over here. Look over here. This is all this is. But again, we need to capitalize on that, Greg. There's no doubt about it. I can't stress this enough. People need to do two things. Number one, be betting against this global debt at every chance that they can, and that means they need to be hoarding, in my opinion, precious metals. They also need to become their own central bank. These have been my themes since day one. And becoming your own central bank means acquire precious metals and bet against this debt. That's what we need to be doing. We're in an environment, a global environment of exploding debt, which can never, ever stop, which means there's going to be a breaking point, Greg. We're going to hit it, and all of this will correct the fair market value. And it's going to be a moment that people are not going to believe. Absolutely historic.
Gregory Mannarino, TradersChoice.net. You're going to take these charts and put them on your site at Traders Choice. A lot of people are going to be calling me saying, "Hey, we're going to get those graphs that Mannarino put up. Can you put them on your chart, your site, to TradersChoice.net, and give people a reason to come over there and take a look at your work?"
I haven't done it yet, but you know what? That's a good idea, Greg. I think I'll do that.
Okay, then I'll just make sure I link to when people on the YouTube channel follow the link. It says you can find all the links on this page. Follow the link to the USA Watchdog page where Gregory Mannarino is. Go to the after the interview section and click on his TradersChoice.net, and I'm sure, Gregory, you'll put them in a very obvious place on the front page of your TradersChoice.net.
Well, I think what I'll do, Greg, to make it easy, where I put all my trades and stuff, I'll put it right on the equity list page of my website, and if people can look at those charts that you just showed.
Okay, so equity. So go to the equity page.
Equity list page, exactly.
Equity list page. Okay, there you go. Gregory Mannarino, TradersChoice.net. Thank you for the short, medium, and long-term purview, your analysis of the market. Appreciate it. Gregory Mannarino. I can't talk today, Gregory. Gregory Mannarino, TradersChoice.net. Thank you for joining us today on USAWatchdog.com.
Thank you, Greg. Always great to be here.